What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what just happened with the jobs report as the numbers just came out, and this caused the market to drop pretty hard so far. So I'm going to break down all these numbers, talk about what's happening to the market, what's going on with Tesla, SPY, and all these different tickers. But before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just about 9 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So the data just came out. I was talking about this data so much yesterday, and a lot of people were just not too sure how this would affect us. And I warned you that whatever comes from this data is going to dictate how the market moves. And what just happened? Non-farm payrolls were at 336,000. That was a massive increase. We were expecting 150,000. That tells us that the jobs report was stronger than expected. The unemployment rate was 3.8%, aligning with expectations. Everything else was as expected, especially the labor force participation rate. But the non-farm payrolls that were private were actually higher than expected. So this overall was still more strong of a jobs report, and this caused the market to drop quite a bit because this sent the yields higher, right? The yields ended up going even higher. The 10 years at the highest we've seen in about 16 years, and this overall jobs report was stronger than expected. Looking back at this data, you could see payrolls increased by 336,000 in September. That is much more than expected. All right, that's stronger than expected. And this is now incentivizing the Fed to give us another rate hike. This is incentivizing the Fed to be more hawkish, as they warned us yesterday, and as Jerome Powell warned us during the FOMC meeting. On top of this, anything else to know about the market? Well, we have a very weak start. Basically, the market is still continuing to look weak, and all these eyes are on the jobs report, and the yields are just continuing to rip higher. To add on to this, I didn't see anything else that was that insane. We saw something new involving the SEC and Elon Musk. This news just came out yesterday about how the SEC sued Elon Musk. And that's pretty much it for now. All of these things are very important. We still have the UAW strikes going on with new demands. So, everything else is essentially the same except for this jobs report. And this has caused the market to tank. Every stock, or at least the majority of stocks, are slowing down because of it. I warned you all about this yesterday. This big move was coming. And if you look at SPY, we're barely holding 420 right now. This is going to likely break very soon. And we're going to be watching this thing potentially approach the 418s. The SPY is looking very, very weak now. So let's break this down. So when we look at SPY, okay, we're at 420 right now at the time I'm recording this, and now we're starting to break below it. If we see buyers stepping in at 420, there is potential for it to get back up to 422, but as of right now, it's breaking below it. Now that we're breaking below this, the next critical support is going to be around this 418 level. If that fails us, watch 416.29. SPY looks weak. It's on a free fall, so be very careful, everyone. As far as Tesla goes, it's also looking weak. And this is the interesting thing about Tesla, right? I called out, and this is what a lot of people are talking about too, that there is a possible head and shoulders, right? If the jobs report caused us to pump, we still could have came right back up. If it caused us to drop, this head and shoulders could have played out. That caused me to lean a bit more in favor of the bears, but I was always going to try to be open-minded because with these jobs reports, you never know. And this time around, the head and shoulders happens to be playing out. Tesla happens to be sinking. And Tesla's currently at 251, so we had a big drop compared to yesterday. If it keeps dropping, you're going to be watching this 250 support. If it fails us, it's going to likely come all the way down to this confluence of support towards, well, we first have 247, and then we have the 244 zone right here. So this white trend line is going to be acting as support. So is this green one right here, which is the previous support historically. So overall, this zone could be tested very soon, this mid 240 area. We have the head and shoulders that is still starting to play out, so be very careful, everyone. And I do see Tesla dropping towards 250, if not 247.5. Now, we have some buyers trying to defend 252.5, but just be very careful. It is still looking very weak. If it does try to bounce, then 255 and 257 are going to be two resistance levels, but I'm not really counting on much of a bounce. Could kind of retest 255 and then start coming back down lower towards 250, if not 247.5. So overall, it looks more bearish. I just want to warn you about that right now. For the QQQ, I just want to warn you all that this is also looking weaker. It's still heading downwards. It broke below 356, which is important support. Now our support's at 353.5. If that fails us, this thing has potential to come all the way down towards 351. 350 could be tested if we do break below 353.5, so be very careful on the cues. It's looking weaker. For resistance, watch 356, but I just want to make it clear, this is looking very, very weak so far. On Nvidia stock, okay, look at Nvidia. This is starting to sink down, so we didn't really get that little pop before it started dropping. Instead, it just started sinking immediately. And now we're going to be watching this support right here at 440. If that fails, let's watch 437. And also this trend line right here, which is going to be acting as support. We'll see if this holds or not. I'm going to be watching this very, very carefully. If this breaks, if it breaks below 437, this thing could start sinking lower towards this 433 area. So watch that very carefully. We'll see how Nvidia reacts to this. We have 442 and 440 now acting as resistance because I think we just broke below 440. So be very careful, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Just know Nvidia is looking a bit more bearish. Watch support very carefully. 437, very, very carefully. We'll see if this holds or not. If it breaks, downside is going to be imminent. For Aapl stock, this thing was trying to break out yesterday. It's very sad. It was trying really hard. It wanted to break out. Now Apple's coming right back down. So we didn't actually fill this gap. It came close, but then we ended up failing. So now we're just barely holding 173. If we break below this 173 support, we're going to be watching support right here at 172.6. If that fails us, watch 172. And if we break below 172, we could turn a lot more bearish. So just want to warn everyone to be very careful with Aapl right now, because Apple's looking a bit weaker with this very, very big looking red candlestick. So be very careful. We're looking a bit weaker. Watch 173 as support, then 172.6, and then 172. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the tickers I'm going to talk about for now. Just wanted to bring up a couple of things. I think the VIX just barely opened about a minute ago. This is still continuing to push upwards. We're at 19.5 as of right now. It's trying to push up right now, so we're going to be watching to see if this can break its high. If we continue to see SPY sink, if you look at where SPY is right now, we're currently at about 420 flat. We're just barely holding it. We could see this thing eventually break this 21 resistance, and if that's the case, the VIX could still remain bullish on the PPO, and that once again could slow things down substantially. So just be very careful, everyone. It's worth noting. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Finally, for the dollar index, this is still, once again, a little bit flat, but it is trying to push up a little bit. We're going to be watching this 107 area very, very carefully. If this thing keeps pushing, it's going to be bearish for the markets, so watch that very carefully. And finally, for the 10-year Treasury yield, this is once again continuing to push up thanks to the jobs report, which is bearish for the markets. There's no sign of this thing breaking down yet, so the market still looks weak. I just wanted to warn you all about that in advance, all right? So thank you all for listening. Please be prepared and do what you have to do. Watch support carefully, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.